Good evening, sir. Myself Skant Tripathi, and my question to you is that in the recent past, I have experienced around me and with my friends as well that the people whom we have very close and loving relationships with, uh, and whom we spend our time on a daily basis, are suddenly not there with us among us anymore. So that makes me wonder, where do we really go after we die? Can you? That makes me wonder, where do we really go after we die? So, sir, can you please throw some light on this? Thank you, sir.
You just disintegrate. You don't really go anywhere. You arose from the soil. You go back to the soil. You go back to the air, the water, the soil. That's all. And then one day, randomly, those things, those atoms, they again combine, and the self rises again. There is hardly any difference in the body in the moment before and after death. The body is exactly as it was when you called it alive. Exactly. It's just that a particular configuration is gone. You see, what is it that you call as life? When the male cell meets the female cell in the womb, it's not immediately that you say that the embryo is alive. It takes a few months before you can ascribe life to the fetus. And that's the reason why in the debates over abortion, you often talk of the month of pregnancy till which it is ethically sound to terminate the pregnancy. Someone says second month, someone says fourth month. The Hindu books say it is in the seventh month that the lump of flesh attains the ego agency, Atma Bhav. Before the seventh month, there is the thing, but the thing has no self. So, the self arises from the body, from the development of the body, right? So, the self is a thing of the body. The self is a thing of the body. And the self appears when the body attains a certain configuration, a certain maturity. Right? When that configuration is gone, the self is gone. But where does it go to? It does not really go to anywhere. You have burned the body down. The body is ashes. The ashes are the soil. The soil will definitely give birth to another body. Krishna talks of this very beautifully in the Gita. He says what you consider as living and what you talk of as not living, animate and inanimate, they are really one. So consciousness and material, mind and matter, are really not two. And the moment you say that, the entire discussion over where does consciousness come from disappears. Consciousness does not come from anywhere. Consciousness is material. It arises from matter. But does it want to remain confined to matter? That's a totally different question. No, it does not want to remain confined to matter. But its genesis is definitely material.
Yes, sir.
But the very strange thing about consciousness is, birthed by the body, it does not want to remain confined to the body. And that urge is desire. That urge, seen in the purest sense, is the urge to be liberated, the spiritual quest towards liberation. So what happens? Nothing. It was a thing from the body. It could exist only when the body had a certain shape, only when the body had certain processes happening within it, chemical processes, no spiritual process, nothing out of the world. Those processes are no more possible for purely material reasons. It just cannot happen now. So the life is no more. And if science, in material ways, can make those processes happen for a longer period of time, you will find yourself alive for a longer period. Is that not already happening?
Yes, sir.
So, if certain medicines are not there, you will find you are not alive anymore. A person is provided ventilator support. If the ventilator is not there, the person will be no more. What is the ventilator doing? The ventilator is obviously not providing life. The ventilator is doing something very material, right? And if you can sustain the material, you have sustained life. If you can sustain the material basis of the body, you have sustained life. And therefore, the kind of life most people lead is just material. That's what Sri Krishna says, right? What you call as Jad and Chetan are hardly different. One you could call as Apara Prakriti, the other as Para Prakriti. If life is about you breathing in and out, about you blinking eyelids, and your heart pumping blood through your veins, all that can be taken care of by machines. So what you call as life is really something very mechanical and very material. And advances in science and technology will enable this kind of material life to be extended beyond imagination. It's another matter that even 400 years of such life will be no good. Just as today 80 years of life prove to be insufficient, similarly even those 400 years will prove to be insufficient. Because it is not material that consciousness strives for. It's a tricky thing to understand. Consciousness arises from material, but does not want to remain confined to material. So you can extend the material basis of consciousness for long. That will not satisfy consciousness. Men will beg to be killed. Euthanasia will become a sought after service.
So,
Is it possible for science to give birth? Is not science already doing that? Is it possible for science to give liberation? No. So science, being the study of the material, can definitely give birth. You do not require a metaphysical agency to give birth. You do not require some God to give life. Life can be provided even by science. Not too far is the day when you will have life being produced in factories. You will have raw material coming in and living things coming out. All that is possible. But if there is one thing that science and factories cannot provide or produce, that is liberation. You can create consciousness, but you cannot satiate consciousness. Consciousness is material, it can be created, not too difficult. But consciousness cannot be satiated by science.
yes.
So, where did people come from? They came from the body. The person is the body. People are so body identified. And where has the person gone? The person is still there in a very dormant way. You could say the body was breathing, the last moment. Consciousness was expressed. The body lost its configuration due to age or disease or accident. Consciousness went back to all the atoms it came from. If consciousness arises from the body, surely it was pre-existing in all the atoms in the body. Correct? Because it comes from the body, so it is already there in the body, which means it was pre-existing in all the atoms in the body. So what happens in the moment of death? Nothing goes out of the body. On the contrary, consciousness returns to the building blocks of the body. Consciousness returns to the very atoms it came from. Now, life is contained in those atoms in a latent way. All these atoms, they carry life. Every atom carries life in a potential way. In a dead man, life has returned to the cells. And cell is a big entity, to the atoms. In a dead man, life has gone back to the atoms. Now it is no more manifest. It is still there, but it is not manifest anymore. It is not expressed anymore.
Yes, sir.
Gone. It gone in the sense of returned. And the body will become soil and all those things, and all those things are, each of them are carrying life within them. It is not without reason that the Upanishads say Annam Brahma. Food itself is Brahma. That's a very curious thing to say, no? Food is Brahma. How? Because every atom is carrying consciousness within it. And if atom is carrying consciousness within it, that very consciousness in its purest form is Brahma. So in the flow of time, and we are all talking in the stream of time, right? We are talking of persons, their life, their death, all that is in the stream of time. So in the stream of time, a day will come when those atoms will again combine in a favorable way. And that which is latent within them will again sprout, just as a seed sprouts given the right conditions. So again, that thing will come. You can call that as reincarnation, rebirth, or whatever, if you want to. So nothing flies out of the body. What happens is life returns to the very atoms it comes from. That's what happens. So you will not find visible signs of life anymore. The fellow will not speak or move or breathe. So all those signs are no more because life has gone back to its foundations, the atom.
Yes. So why does consciousness want to be liberated?
That's its nature. This question is coming out of consciousness, no? Just as you want this question to be answered, consciousness wants to be liberated. In some sense, you want to be liberated of your ignorance towards the answer of this question, so you are asking this question, right? This is the attempt of consciousness, a small, minor, feeble attempt of consciousness to be liberated. So, in your question lies the answer. Consciousness wants to be liberated, you want the answer to your question. These two are the same thing.
Yes. Thank you, sir.